Marcell Rev, Euphoria cinematographer, a two-time Emmy nominee who's nominated this year for Outstanding Cinematography for a single camera series, 1 hour for the Euphoria season 2 episode, The Theater and Its Double. I absolutely love this episode. It's one of my favorites of the year. But broadly, before we get into it, I wanted to talk to you about the particulars of this season where you and Sam Levinson decided to shoot season 2 on 35 millimeter Kodak Ektachrome, I believe, and why that choice and how did that affect your, what you were doing here in season 2?
Yeah, it's not entirely Ektachrome. It's I would say it's like 50-50. Like we shot Vision 3 for almost the half of it, and especially this episode, most of it is on 500T. But yeah, we shot a lot of Ektachrome too, and in places that you probably wouldn't in a normal scenario. Yeah, we always wanted to shoot film. First season, we didn't have the resources, and also just HBO was not totally happy about going analog. But with the second season, they trusted us, so we could do whatever we wanted, I think, in terms of the stock.
That's great. So for this episode, I absolutely love it. So it's for those who haven't seen it, basically Lexi Howard, the character, has her play, a school play. It is completely blown out and just like no school play I've ever seen. And you're obviously recreating scenes from the show, and it's very meta and all these different things. I guess where did you start visually and how you wanted that to look, kind of going from the stage version of like the recreations to like the real scenes from the show and how that kind of all blends together?
Yeah, so we definitely didn't want to do like a realist high school play. The idea was to connect or intervene these storylines, like the flashbacks of what actually happened and how she puts it on stage, and the third line of things, which is kind of the present or future of these characters, and we wanted to blend it together so you don't exactly know where you are at certain points of the story. You can decide whether you're seeing something happening on stage, or this is actually that happened, or is it an interpretation of someone. So we were trying to create these sets in this auditorium that resemble the actual locations or sets or apartments of these characters. So we can create a scene on a stage set that can can feel like it's an actual scene in an actual apartment, and then we can reveal that it's a scene on stage.
So cool. So also, I feel like you do a lot of great work with the lighting of it too, and kind of like tricking the viewer, I guess, by like, playing into the theater lighting. I found that stuff so fascinating. Can you talk a little about how you guys thought of lighting and like how you did that in the auditorium, I guess, or how that even worked?
Yeah, so I think we embraced the nature of like theater lighting. We kind of mixed it a little bit with how we would light this show. But we used a lot of like hard spotlights on sets and at scenes where we are not on stage, and try to connect certain moments with like these in-camera light cues and hard lights hitting actors in places where it's not really realistic.
Can you talk a little about the backstage aspect of it? So obviously, Lexi, when the play goes backstage, it is very frenetic and like kind of everything's moving around really quickly and aggressively. And I just found that so thrilling. I know that Sam has talked about Magnolia as an influence. It reminded me a little of like the scenes from like the quiz show on Magnolia, right? Like that kind of thing. I don't know if that was something you guys talked about, but for me, that was what I was taking from it. Can you talk about doing that and how you juxtapose, like how you differentiate those scenes from the stage scenes, I guess?
Yeah, we thought it's a good like glue to glue this thing together, and it can give us a little like a good energy and speed to the episode. Actually, we were talking a lot about like Bob Fosse movies, like Sweet Charity and stuff like that, like getting the humor aspect of like visually getting the humor, landing on a line, landing on a movement that's like, I don't know, like these fast pans and I mean, or just like a slow move over to someone, revealing someone behind the wall or stuff like that. That was kind of what we were watching, as far as I remember, and we're thinking about, and also just moving camera on rhythm, landing on a musical cue, stuff like that.
how much rehearsal do you, or how much prep, like how much do you have to do to make sure this stuff is timing out right?
It's, I mean, for the choreographed parts of it, like dance or dance like sequences, we rehearsed a lot, and obviously they rehearsed separately, and then we rehearsed with camera, but also we took our time shooting it, to be honest. And also the good thing with Sam is that we do rehearse a lot. We do have like a lot of we have like shot lists, and we mostly storyboard everything, but sometimes we just throw it away on the day if we don't feel like it's clicking totally. So it's a good combination of like improvising and having a plan.
Was in this episode, was there something where you were just like, let's just throw like some kind of improvisation like that, or something you guys like, let's just throw it away and try something else?
I mean, we had an idea how there is this musical number at the end with Austin, who it was kind of like well rehearsed, and we had like a good idea of how we want to shoot it, and then like a conceptual way to shoot it, and we decided just to shoot it like, you know, we just wanted to give justice to the choreography. It was such a good piece that we throw it away, and we just went for the best angles and just the best moves, and it was just such a fun sequence. We just wanted to give justice to that.
Yeah, it's awesome. That scene rules. One of the things, I mean, the season 2 especially, obviously, was such a big hit and very well received, I think, and online, lots of memes. I'm sure you've seen this or whatever, and I feel like in this, so like, I guess like in this episode, there's one of my favorites is when Alexa Demi plays Maddie, and she's like, wait, is this effing play about us? I've seen that so many times. I feel like it is move beyond the show almost when you're capturing that moment in your, like, do you know like things like that are going to hit? Can you tell that's going to be like a killer moment for the show? I mean, or no?
Also there are like moments where I just can't stop laughing behind camera. It's like you can feel that it's shaking a little bit. I don't know. So it's but it's a fun set too. It's kind of, especially those moments when you have like a lot of cast and dancers, and yeah.
It's also like a great cast. You have in this season, you have Sydney Sweeney, obviously, is an Emmy nominee this year for the show, and Zendaya again, previous winner. In this episode, there's a great moment with Sydney where Cassie leaves and goes into the bathroom and kind of like is staring at herself, and she kind of her face goes from like this like almost like a black hole sun, like fake happy, to like sad, or like it's just a great moment. Can you talk about that? And then later in the episode, you have a great close up of her. The episode ends with her like looking through the glass door. I found both those scenes so incredible, and the way you're capturing her emotions without her even saying anything. I guess, can you talk about like working with her on those scenes and like getting those moments, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, Sid is just like an amazing actress, and she can like turn these emotions on. Like, I don't know, it's like it's probably skill too, but I doubt it's only skill. I don't know, I mean, she's really amazing, and she goes for it, and I think the good thing about her is like it's not only the emotional parts of it, but this character is such a courageous character in a way that she's not always likable, and she really goes for it, and she has that courage to like to create something that's like, you know, risky. Maybe people won't like her character that much, and she just goes for it all in
Yeah,
with a lot of trust, which I really admire.
It's really great. And then I want to ask you just briefly, obviously, like we're talking so much about the show and the theater and everything. There are also scenes in Fezco's apartment, which obviously pays off tremendously in the finale. I found those scenes, the way those scenes are like the style of those scenes are so different from what we're seeing in the theater and stuff. And there's obviously so much tension built in there, and the way that pays off in the finale is obviously incredibly powerful and just great. But can you talk a little about how you guys thought about those scenes in the apartment and how that would look visually compared to what we're seeing in the show?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the core of what this season is. For me, this season is about like if I think about it, I think about like Fesco's house. I think about the house party in season 1, that like, or just like, or Elliot's apartment, that like black and golden palette with a lot of colors, but that golden thing that glows over it. It's a combination of Actichrome and the way, I don't know, and it's production design obviously, yeah. So that's, and then I think this episode is a little bit different. I think episode 5 and episode 7 are a little different from the rest of the episodes, and that's when it meets the core of this season. I think when you go back to Fasco's house, and obviously that's where it will unfold in the finale. So we just wanted to go with a little more melancholic look. I think that's the right word.
Yeah, that it is, and it works. We could talk about this for a while, but we have to wrap up. Marcell Rev, cinematographer for Euphoria, an Emmy nominee this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.